Hello everyone, this is News Review and I am Lamin Jai. So coming up today, President Adama Barrow today departed Banjul for a 2-week countrywide tour, a tour that is expected that will see him address 44 public meetings in a span of 19 days. Also, the Gambia's economy has suffered sliding growth and the Gambia government is blaming delayed rain as well as Thomas Cook's collapse. These and more coming up. But we will first begin with the papers. I have Point and I also have Foroya. So let's start with Foroya and see what the paper is reporting on today. It is reporting that CRC presents Gambians with draft new constitution. Also, Fisheries PS says cases involving intercepted vessels are settled out of court. Deputy Police Commissioner testifies about witch hunt at police headquarters. Also, Fisheries Minister signs multi-million dollars fisheries development management project. SECO managers call for early announcement of farm gate price. Also, pro-Gambia engages party leaders on 3-5 years debacle. So the lead story there is in the Constitutional Review Commission of the Gambia on Friday, 15th November 2019, presented Gambians with a draft new constitution which sets a 2-term limit for the post of president. Also, the draft constitution also proposes that for a person to be elected or declared winner in a presidential election, he or she must get at least 50% or more than 50% of the total votes cast. Also on Foroya today, Deputy Police Commissioner testifies about witch hunt at police headquarters. The Deputy Police Commissioner, West Coast Region, on Monday, 11th November 2019, testified before the TRRC about the 2009 witch hunt activity at police headquarters in Banjul. Ken Mendy said sometime in 2009, a group of witch hunters came to the police headquarters and pointed out some of his colleagues or colleague police officers as witches. So, Fisheries PS says cases involving intercepted vessels are settled out of court. The permanent secretary at the Ministry of Fisheries or at the Department of Fisheries has told Foroya that none of the cases involving intercepted vessels have been taken to court for prosecution. He said the approach they have been using since 2017 was an out-of-court settlement. That is Dr. Bamba Banja there. That's the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Fisheries. So now the Point is also reporting on the new draft constitution there. No precedent to establish organization. That's according to the new constitution. Government withdraws parental insult legislation. Barrow effects minor reshuffle in civil service. So let's start with that minor reshuffle there. President Barrow effects minor reshuffle in civil service. President Adama Barrow has effected minor reshuffle in the civil service according to people familiar with the development. The source revealed that Yankuba Saidi, the permanent secretary for investment under the office of the president, has been moved to Russia as deputy ambassador, while Bulli Diba, permanent secretary at the Ministry of Women's Affairs, has been deployed to Sierra Leone as deputy high commissioner. Also, Sekou Gassama, permanent secretary at the Ministry of or at the office of the president, has been deployed to the state central prisons as director general, whereas Lamin Kamara, the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Agriculture, has been moved to Guinea-Bissau as deputy ambassador. Also, government withdraws parental insult legislation. The Minister of Justice says it will no longer present the proposed law that seeks to introduce the offense of parental insults in the criminal offences bill. This withdrawal decision is as a result of concerns expressed from several quarters regarding the objectives and the possible effects of the said provision, the ministry said in a missive there. So I think that's pretty much it for the papers. We will now begin with our very first story there. Amid singing and drumming, President Adama Barrow on Monday departed Banjul for a 2-week countrywide tour, a tour that is expected to see him address 44 public meetings in a span of 19 days. The president is also expected to visit development projects relating to agriculture, education, healthcare, and youth entrepreneurship throughout the country. The father was in Banjul as the president left the capital. More in this report. President Barrow waved and grinned from ear to ear as he came out of State House. president proceeded straight to the shipyard for a brief pre-departure ceremony where Gambians from all walks of life lined to receive him. And then came the guard of honor. Please,
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Honor Guard, mounted by Gambia Navy. One officer, 23 ordnance, in open order, ready for your inspection, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Thank
This tour, if anything, will be grueling. 19 days is how long the tour will last. But the president looked conscious of this fact as he entered through the main gate of the terminal, as the Kunta Kinte ferry waited patiently for the most important man in the country. The Fatu network managed to sound the president's expectations.
Our expectations are very, very high.
Okay, excellent.
You know, looking at the Banjul, how the people are welcoming in Banjul, I think this is a very good sign. We're looking forward to going around the country, but our expectations are very, very high, definitely.
If there are any people who are excited about this tour, it's the president's supporters.
I'm appealing all the Gambians to come out and support President Barrow for his 5 years and mandate. So we are very excited. We are very happy to, to see the president. We are very happy. I'm so happy. See,
Is this talk about the 5 years?
Yes, absolutely. We need Barrow not for 5 years, but we need for more than 20 years.
20 years, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
What do you have to say?
Well, I'm a strong supporter of the president, and we all wish him well, and success in his trip. So people are talking about 3 years, 5 years. That's not important. The important thing is for them to get success in the tour.
So happy. You are so happy. Wa Banjul jërëjëf jëf yéen a baax. Yow lan nga bëgg a gis ci tour bi yow. Success lañ ci bëgg a gis bu ci gis dara lu ñuul lu weex rek kese.
Proud with our president.
Very much.
Okay? All what we have to say, we have to thank the Banjulians and the KM people. We are proud of everybody today. They show us how they are real to the president. We are very happy. I'm the chairman of Beno, joined by the president, Adama Barrow.
Thank you.
He is one of our elders. This is the founder of Beno. So we are very proud of everybody. Meanwhile, even you, I'm proud of you.
Mamalaf tu na sakor. Man kontana Adama Barrow mo si president sa Gambia fi ñu president Adama Barrow ñu ci gannaawam dinañ ko jappalé bu ko yalla li finteñ bi du nexé yalla Adama Barrow mo si president Adama Barrow oyafna baxna du nexé yalla Banjul mom kontaan naa trop si waa Banjul ñëpp gën a ne.
waaye am na ñu nekk di wax ne président bi dafa war a waaj a December buy ñëw ne yow loo si gis.
man lu ma si gis loolu mun a possible ñun suñu boppam ñun waa Banjul ànd nañu Adama Barrow fii Banjul lu ñu defal xam nañ ko ñun ñokkuñ dof waaw ku yaakaar ne Adama Barrow fii Banjul Adama Barrow liggéey na Banjul nga di la fa Banjul sant yàlla waaw ñun ñu ngi si gannaawam.
kontaan xewal rek Barrow kay kontaan rek.
too bi lan nga expect ci tooyam bi lan nga bëgg a foog ne loolu la war a
lii kay lu muy def rek dëkk bi dem kanam rek.
The president has since made it to the other side of the river as the tour begins proper. Lamin Jai reporting for the Fatu Network News Review. So barely a week after their unceremonious booting from the UDP, the Fatu Network cameras on Monday caught 3 of the 8 sacked UDP legislators among tumultuous crowds that converged at the ferry crossing point in Banjul today to bid farewell to President Adama Barrow there as he launched the first leg of his tour. So Bile G. Tunkara, Alhaji Jawara and Baba Gale Jalo are among 8 members of the National Assembly, UDP members who were expelled from UDP because the party said they were conducting themselves in a way that was not in conformity with party principles. And on Monday, some of these dismissed members joined President Barrow on a trail of 2 weeks of public meetings and spot visits to some development projects in the country. And in as much as some of the disgraced former UDP National Assembly members have taken the UDP position in good faith, they have no regrets in throwing their weight behind President Adama Barrow. I managed to talk to some of them there.
So you are one of those National Assembly members who are going with President Barrow on this nationwide tour. You were, until 2 days ago, member of the United Democratic Party. Yes. The party came out saying you have been sacked from the party because of your overt support for President Barrow. What do you have to say, Honorable?
Come on, thank you very much for the question, per se. As you rightly know, the party leadership and the executive committee does send us a letter indicating that our membership is no more needed in the party as a result of our overt support, of course, to President Barrow and his political outfit. I think they have exercised, the position of the executive of the party, and then decided that we are not really in line with the proposed standard or standpoint of the party. We're not supporting that, and they have seen our affiliation to the Barrow, and then they took the decision to expel. We will take it in good faith. But obviously, everybody knows that what we are doing, we are supporting the rule of law and constitutional supremacy. not supporting the 3 years agenda, but support constitutional provision, Section 63 of the Constitution, and also to stand with the President to make sure that to uphold and defend the Constitution as the supreme law of the Gambia. Nothing and nothing much and nothing less. So that was our crime, and they feel that we are not really going in line with the party and they expel us. We take it in good faith and remain as independent candidate and work for the interest of the country.
Honorable, why would you leave your party for a political landscape or infrastructure that is not entirely certain? President Barrow doesn't have a party. Yes. President Barrow, a lot of things are being said. Some are saying he should step down in December. Yes. You have a party that you have worked so hard for, so much sacrifice. Yes. Why would you abandon that party? Why would you not support that party's agenda?
I didn't abandon the party. The party expelled me. I didn't leave it. I never tendered my letter of resignation to leave the party.
But they are saying you are behaving in a way that was not in conformity with party principles.
What is the party principle in the first place? What party principles? The party has values and ethics and values, and I've abided by those ones. I'm not undermining the party principles. I am not also acting illegitimately in Parliament. I have not also did many misconduct as far as the party membership is concerned. So I didn't abandon. Instead, they really kicked me out of the party. And then, had it been, your question would have been relevant if I have tendered my letter of resignation. Then you would say that where do you abandon? I didn't abandon it. They sent me out. Yes.
For the first time in the Gambia, your favorite GSM operator, Africell, is the first and only GSM operator to launch a brand new technology called the eSIM. The eSIM simply means you can use your phone without a SIM card. Do you have an iPhone 11, any of the iPhone X series, a Google Pixel 3, or any new phone that supports the e-technology? Visit any Africell customer care center. Activate your eSIM today. With your virtual Africell SIM, you can use more than one number without having a physical SIM card in your phone. Enjoy this brand new technology for the first time in the Gambia, brought to you by Africell. eSIM, your phone without a SIM card. For more information, please call 111. Where Africell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Honorable, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Honorable, you are one of the MPs who were yesterday or day before yesterday sacked by UDP for your overt support for President Barrow. And now here you are today, accompanying the president on this nationwide tour. What do you have to say?
Thank you very much. Before going further, I would like to have a point of correction there. It's not about supporting President Barrow. It's about, as a leader, there's three things that build leadership. That is integrity, capacity, and strength. Yes. And the fourth to that is principles. We are supporting President Barrow based on the constitutional mandate that the Gambia and her people gave it to him. We are not supporting President Barrow because he is the president, no. I, as a person, I have a principles in life. And each and every other person, he or she, must have a principle in life. Yesterday, everybody heard what somebody in that particular party would talk about if anybody wanted to challenge President Barrow for his constitutional mandate of 5 years, he's going to be the very one who is going to take you to the High Court. And just a few weeks back, we had different stories. So as a man of principle, I cannot be just flip-flopping like that by somebody. Whenever you tell me to go to bed, I go to bed. Whenever you tell me jot up, I jot up. I must have principle, and I must go with that principle in line with the Constitution and in line with my consent. I don't want to do something that, after all, my consent would not allow me that you have did this, why did you do so? I want to be a man of myself, and I want to have a peace of mind.
But did you do this in consultation with your constituents, your people? Because it is people who elected you to the National Assembly. And mostly these are members of the UDP supporters who voted for you to serve them on the National Assembly. So you coming out to overtly declare your support for President Adama Barrow did you consult your people? Is it your people who told you to abandon UDP to go and support President Barrow?
As a leader, if you don't listen to your people, you are a failed leader. Whatever I do or whatever I'm about to do, the first thing that I do is to consult the peace-loving people of Lower Badibu. And that's what I believe. I have a mentor in politics, and I do read his books, and I know what is his direction in life. You understand? So that is why I tell you, whatever I do, before I do it or before I am about to take action, I must consult my people. And I consult my people, and I know that 100% the people of Lower Badibu are behind me, whatever I am doing, because they know the man that they elect.
But President Barrow's political future, a lot of political analysts say it is not certain. Here is a man who does not have a party. Here is a man who December is just around the corner. There is pressure, mounting pressure on him for him to leave office. Why would you switch your support or allegiance to such a person?
As I tell you, point of correction again, I am not supporting President Barrow as an individual. I am supporting the constitutional mandate. That is the 5 years mandate that the Gambia and her people give it to President Barrow. We have gave 2 things to President Barrow.
But President Barrow is the face of that.
Good.
That constitutional mandate you are talking about.
We gave 2 things to President Barrow as citizens. That is 1, power to the authority, to have the ability to do something and to have the legitimate right to do something. You understand? And I am one of those who voted for President Barrow. You understand? So saying that I shift my allegiance to President Barrow, it's not about President Barrow. It's about the constitution that I hold and swear that I am going to defend this constitution. And that particular constitution says that 5 years. So if people, for us, as individuals or as leaders, let me call it that way, if I say today, maybe Fadu Network is this and that, and Fadu, other media houses also attack me, I say, no, I am saying this as an individual, as MP of Lower Badibu, but I'm not saying this on behalf of the people of Lower Badibu. You as an individual, how are you going to judge me? I will pose that question to you too. How are you going to judge me?
Okay. Well, let me ask you this then. What does the future look like for you?
The future is very bright. The future is very bright. As you can see today, let me tell you, the Gambia and her people will not vote for anybody who is not consistent, who did not have a direction to go, and who is not focused.
Are you talking about Lawyer Dabo here?
I'm not talking about Lawyer Dabo. I'm talking about all the leaders, including Adam Barrow. And my advice to Adam Barrow as the leader of the Gambia is that the Gambia and her people will not vote for anybody. 1, if you don't respect the human right. 2, if you don't respect people as individuals, as group, or as nation. And 3, you have to change their life. And changing their life, you have to do something that in future people can count that this is what he has done here during his tenure in office. This is very important for us as a leader.
yow mi nekk America wala Europe war a yónnee mobile muy jël ay weer Smartphone House ñëw pour rek noppal leen looy def rek mooy nga def payment ñu deliver phone bi tey.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Man de sama jëkkër moo ma boole ak yéen. Mohamed Ndiaye.
Mohamed Ndiaye.
waaw Sweden.
maa ma waxamoon tey si suba.
waaw daf ma call suma téléphone bi yaaxu mu ne ma demal Smartphone House. ma ne ko waaye loolu gaaw na ni mu ne ma demal rek.
moom utal na la fi benn. mooy iPhone 8 Plus.
masha Allah.
ak Smartphone House emuñ ci jaay mobile rek waaye dañuy jaay computer ay yére ak daala yi nga xam ne rek original lañ ba tax nag ku bugg a xam fi nga xam ne mooy Smartphone House da ngaa dem Kairaba Avenue opposite fi nga xam ne mooy Barcelona shop.
Honorable, you have been fired by UDP. First of all, what do you make of your sacking?
Well, I'm not been fired. I say I'm relieved. I am relieved. I'm not fired.
Why would you say you are relieved?
Well, because we have a lot of trouble with the party. So if we come to this stage now, I believe we are relieved. We are not sacked.
If you say troubles, what are these troubles?
Well, our agendas are not the same. Because we are supporting the president we elected. We voted for him, and we voted for 5 years.
So you were talking about your agendas being different there. What is your agenda, and what is the agenda of UDP?
Our agenda is we voted Barrow for 5 years, and we are supporting his agenda. Not Barrow himself, but his agenda.
So, Honorable, your firing came just 3 days ago, and today here you are, going with President Barrow on tour. Would you would one be right to say that UDP is vindicated in what they are saying? You are a member of this party, but you have not been behaving in conformity with party principles.
When you say I am not behaving with conformity with the party principles, I wonder why. Because this tour Barrow is taking is constitutional mandate. So
UDP and President Barrow are not in good terms. Why would you abandon your party?
That would never reflect on the constitution. This tour is mandatory to the president, and it's constitutional. So, not being in conformity with the president doesn't mean that we should not go for the tour. It's mandatory.
Your people, when you took this decision, this massive decision to shift your support for President Barrow, what did they say? People who voted for you, who are largely supporters of UDP, sympathizers, if you like.
Well, I know they are with me. My people are with me, solely with me, because they know we voted for President Barrow for 5 years, and we must support his agenda for development. So obviously my people are with me.
But you are saying you voted for President Barrow for 5 years, but President Barrow promised that he was going to serve for only 3 years. So why are you talking about 5 years?
That was a gentleman agreement. And any gentleman agreement cannot supersede the Constitution.
But don't you think a man who cannot keep his promise is no man at all, or no man to trust at all?
That was not his own promise. It was the coalition's promise. And again, the coalition came back and had an agreement that they should leave him to serve for 5 years.
No, but by that time, the coalition had already disintegrated. The key parties all had abandoned the coalition at that time.
Which key party? Can you please name it?
For example, your just recent party, UDP.
8 parties from the coalition. How many of them were out of the coalition?
At least 3 were out.
3, left with 5. So they carried the majority. If you are summoned to a meeting today, you didn't attend the meeting. Even 2 of them, if they agreed on, you must. That agreement must go.
Honorable, so what would happen to you should President Barrow be forced to step aside in December next month? What would happen to your political career future?
No, I don't think that will happen because it's not constitutional. I don't think it will happen. We have to abide by the Constitution. And the Constitution states, Section 53(1) says, any elected president shall serve a time of 5 years. So,
but he can also serve for less than that, Honorable.
If he wishes. If he wants to resign, that's Section 65. That's giving him that mandate. If he wants to resign, Section 65 said he can resign.
So what if the president resigns next month? What are you going to do?
I don't think it will happen because he has to fulfill his mandatory.
So is it by force for President Barrow to serve for 5 years? Honorable.
That's what the Constitution dictates. 5 years.
But I'm asking, is it by force?
That's what I'm saying. That's what the Constitution dictates.
No, the Constitution didn't say by force. It said shall serve for 5 years.
Serve, yes.
But that's not by force.
What was that?
It is up to the president to either do or not do. The president can come out. That's why you said he can resign.
Yes, he can resign. That's Section 65. But what about if he says he wants to serve for 5 years? And this is what he's saying.
What are your expectations of this tour?
Well, it depends on the people because it's going to be meet the people's tour. It depends on what problems will the president find on the ground. And it depends on the problem that people will relate to him. And I believe the tour will be very fruitful.
Honorable, thank you very much.
Now, aside the pomp and pageantry there, some people expect Gambians or the president to be on the receiving end of some tough questions when he comes face to face with Gambians. Let's go with this report.
President Barrow's nationwide tour comes at an interesting phase of his leadership in that his administration is currently beset by lack of funds to execute many of the development projects enshrined in his National Development Plan blueprint. The president will also be visiting Gambians at a time when the health of the economy is not at its best. According to central bank statistics, the Gambian economy is sound and robust, but the man in the street will tell you these statistics of sound economic performances are not translating into any tangible benefits for him. For example, prices of essential commodities in the market are shooting through the roof. The average man is struggling to make ends meet as unemployment becomes more and more prevalent. The Gambian farmers will also be elated to come face-to-face with President Barrow to tell him about their nightmare with fertilizer and its cost and how the government was late in distributing it to them for this year's cropping season. The farmers would also be thrilled to meet President Barrow and to ask him about his government's plans for the agricultural sector. Burning questions about agriculture include mechanization, marketing, and processing. Farmers would like to know why it is taking the government too long to look into these issues. President Barrow's tour of the nation will also be important for Gambians, as it will accord them the opportunity to come face-to-face with him and ask him why Gambian children are learning their lessons under trees, derelict classrooms, as well as trekking several kilometers from their settlements to acquire education. They would also be happy to ask him why Gambia college fees are beyond affordability for many of them, and how this is hampering education and thereby oiling the wheel of poverty and deprivation. And the broken promise. When President Adama Barrow told Gambians in 2016 that he will step down after presiding over a 3-year transition government, many believed him. But now that he has reneged on this, Gambians would like to know from him as to whether this is healthy for our politics, decency, and morality. Gambians may like to ask him whether they can any longer trust him, rely on him, and why they should even return him to office if he can break his promise without even covering his face with his index finger. Security is a concern to Gambians both in the urban area and the countryside. With armed robberies and other petty crimes increasing, people would be keen to know from the president himself as to why they no longer feel safe in their own country. Health is a priority in the National Development Plan blueprint, but Gambians are curious why many loved ones are being carried to their early graves as a result of crumbling healthcare system. Gambians are dying of treatable diseases because the healthcare system is not responding to their healthcare needs. Lack of adequate facilities and well-trained staff will be of particular relevance to the people. And the infrastructure. Since assuming office up until today, the Barrow administration is yet to conceive and implement any noticeable infrastructural projects in the country. Poor states of roads are claiming lives at an unforgivable rate.
And now to other news in the studio today. Gambia's economy has shrunk in terms of growth. This is according to the Minister of Finance of the Gambia, Mamburin Njai. Today he appeared before lawmakers where he presented the 2020 budget for approval by the National Assembly there. But the Finance Minister was quick to point out that the Gambia's economy has slided in terms of growth, registering only 4% of growth, and he is blaming this on delayed rain and also the collapse of Thomas Cook. Let's listen to what the Honorable Minister said today.
The Gambian economy is anticipated to grow by 4% in 2019 compared to an actual real growth of 6.5% in 2018. The decline in growth is as a result of anticipated setbacks in both agriculture and services sector. Growth in these two sectors is projected at -2.6% and 1.5% in 2019 compared to 0.9% and 9.9% in 2018 for agriculture and services respectively. The contraction is on account of the delayed rains and impact of the collapse of Thomas Cook, the major carrier of tourists to the Gambia. Honorable Speaker, total expenditure and net lending is projected to increase from 28.825 billion Gambian dollars in 2019 to 30.048 billion Gambian dollars in 2020, representing an increase of 4%. The bulk of the increment is attributed to debt interest payments.
The Finance Minister did indicate there that the country or the government will spend $30 billion in 2020. This is compared to 28 billion this year, that's 2019. So that will be it for today's news review. Thank you very much for being there. We will be back tomorrow. Until then, my name is Lamin Jai.